So today we're going to do something a little different. We're going to reverse engineer financial success by looking at failure. We're going to build a blueprint from the most expensive money mistakes real people have made so you get all the wisdom without any of the wallet-crushing pain. Let's get into it. The great boxer Sugar Ray Leonard really hit the nail on the head here. Failure isn't the opposite of success. It's practically a stepping stone to get there. Every single knockout punch teaches a lesson, right? Well, it's the exact same thing with our finances. Every mistake holds a clue to becoming stronger and a whole lot smarter with our money. But what if you could learn those lessons without taking the hits yourself? What if you could get to the other side of all those common financial mistakes without falling into the pit? That is exactly what we're doing today. We're building a bridge to financial clarity, and we're using the hard-earned lessons of others to show us the way. And this is where our blueprint really begins. It's not built on theory, it's rooted in the very real, very painful stories of financial regret. Okay, first up, let's talk about part one of the blueprint, build your foundation. These are the absolute non-negotiables, the first steps you have to take to get financially stable. Our first lesson comes from a guy named Alex, and his story, well, it's gonna sound familiar to a lot of us. He saw his credit card as this super convenient tool. A coffee here, a rideshare there. But before he knew it, those tiny, harmless little purchases had snowballed into a huge mountain of high-interest debt that felt absolutely impossible to climb. So how do you avoid ending up in Alex's shoes? It really comes down to three simple habits. First, you have to track everything. Just be aware of where your money's actually going. Second, and this is crucial, always pay more than the minimum payment. That's how you actually kill the debt instead of just feeding it interest every month. And third, automate your payments. That way you never miss a due date. This one move keeps your credit score safe and honestly keeps your sanity intact. Okay, next up, let's talk about Sam. At 30 years old, retirement was just some fuzzy idea way off in the future. But then he watched a colleague actually retire. And not just retire, but retire comfortably. And this wave of pure panic just washed over him. He had this sudden jolting realization that he had been wasting his single most valuable asset, time. The solution to Sam's regret is to just start right now. It doesn't matter how small. Treat your savings like it's a bill you have to pay every month, and then automate it so you don't even think about it. Put that money to work through investments so it can grow over decades. And always, always be building up that emergency fund. Look, this isn't about getting rich quick. It's about letting the incredible power of compounding do its magic over the long haul. And finally, for this section, there's Jessica's story of regret. She wanted to look successful, so she financed a Ferrari. And yeah, the car turned heads for sure. But those payments were like a financial anchor dragging her down. She made a classic mistake. She bought a liability, something that does nothing but take money out of your pocket instead of buying an asset. So here's the crucial takeaway, the one simple test you need to remember. Before any big purchase, just stop and ask yourself this one question. Will this make me richer or poorer in the long run? If the answer is poorer, you gotta pause. It's about choosing your future wealth over a temporary flex. All right, now that we have the foundation in place, it's time to defend it. Welcome to part 2 of our blueprint, Protect Your Wealth. Oof, this quote right here captures such a common and painful mistake. Take Priya, for example. She lent her cousin $5,000 based on nothing more than a handshake. And when the payments just stopped coming, she was left with bad debt, a really strained relationship, and her own bills piling up. It was a mess. To avoid Priya's situation, you really have 3 clear options. 1, treat the money as a straight-up gift with zero expectation of ever seeing it again. 2, create a formal written contract that spells out all the terms and deadlines. Or 3, you can just say no. And listen, this isn't about being unkind. It's about protecting yourself from a huge financial and emotional loss. Financial security can feel so solid one minute and just be gone the next. Look at Emily. She had a stable 9-to-5. She felt totally safe. Then, out of nowhere, layoffs hit. With no emergency fund and no backup plan, her entire world was turned upside down. She learned a terrifying lesson. Relying on a single paycheck is a massive, massive risk. Emily's story is exactly why a financial safety net isn't just a nice to have, it's absolutely critical. What does that look like? It means having an emergency fund with at least 3 to 6 months of living expenses saved up. It means developing multiple streams of income so you're never just one paycheck away from disaster. And it means having the right insurance to cover you for life's biggest curveballs. And now we're at the final stage. You've got your foundation, you have your protections in place. Now you're ready for Blueprint Part 3, Grow with Wisdom. Ryan's story is such a classic investing trap. When the market took a nosedive, he panicked. He sold everything. But when the market bounced back just a few weeks later, he was stuck on the sidelines, watching everyone else recover. His decision, totally based on fear, cost him a ton of money. To avoid Ryan's big regret, you need a plan, not panic. First, educate yourself. Never, ever invest in something you don't actually understand. Second, think long term. Markets go up and down. That's just what they do. Real wealth is built by riding out those storms. And third, set your rules for when you'll sell before a crisis hits. That way your decisions are guided by logic, not by fear. Our final lesson comes from Carlos. He poured his life savings into his dream of opening a little cafe. But his passion, as amazing as it was, just wasn't enough. Without a solid business plan, he burned through all his money in 6 months, and his dream just collapsed. Carlos's mistake teaches a vital lesson for any big venture you take on. First, you have to create a detailed plan. Second, test your idea on a small scale first to see if it even works. And third, go seek advice from mentors, from people who can see the pitfalls that you are definitely going to miss. This prep work will dramatically increase your odds of success. So we've walked through the entire blueprint. These lessons, all born from real-world regrets, aren't just a list of rules. They represent a huge shift in mindset, from making decisions based on short-term panic to making them based on long-term planning. When it comes right down to it, financial security isn't about some complicated secret formula. It's about consistently applying a few simple, powerful rules that protect you from the most common and costly mistakes. So we'll leave you with this. The person you're going to be in 10, 20, or 30 years, they're watching you right now. They're counting on the decisions you make today. So what's one choice you can make starting right now to make them proud?